What's going on today, YouTube? Rob here. In today's video, I'm coming at you with a brand new Sworsoul deck profile. This deck is really awesome and is probably one of my favorite decks of all time, as it is able to be an easy learn and also a really competitive deck once you know what you're doing, and is capable of playing through a lot of different disruptions. With the Kashtira deck most likely being the top deck in the format, I decided to change things up from the Tier Limits format, and this is what I've come up with. Before we get started, I just want to say, if you're new to the channel, consider leaving a like, comment on what you might want to see next, and subscribe for more awesome Yu-Gi-Oh videos. Without wasting any more of your time, let's get into it. Alright guys, let's get into this Sworsoul deck profile. This is a deck that I love and I've been playing basically since it came out. So we've got, starting things off, pretty standard, triple Moye, triple copies of Long Yuan, and double copies of Taya. Not much to really say about these. These are your names for the deck. Pretty bread and butter in terms of ratios. And especially now, you definitely want to play a second Taya rather than cutting it down to one. And then we've got one copy of Iris Sworsoul. So during the main phase, if a monster whose effects were negated is on the field, quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. If your opponent special summons a monster or monsters, except during the damage step, you can activate one of these effects based on where it was special summoned. So if it was special summoned from the hand, you can special summon a monster from your hand. If it was specialed from the deck, you get to draw 2 cards. And if it was specialed from the extra deck, you can destroy one of those monsters special summoned from the extra deck. Then we've got the Abyss Dragon Sworsoul, the brand new card out of PHOTON HYPERNOVA. Cannot be normal summoned or set, must be special summoned by a Worm monster's effect. If a monster is banished by a card effect except during damage step, you can special summon this card from your graveyard if it was there when the monster was banished, or hand even if not, but banish it when it leaves the field. If this card is special summoned, you can target one card in the field zone and one monster your opponent controls or in their graveyard and banish them. So again, this is almost like an in-archetype version of Bestials, which is amazing. Plus, it's a 3K beat stick that can be accessed through in-archetype engines, which is also fantastic. And then we have, for our honorary Sworsoul monsters, triple copies of Ecclesia. This is a really good extender and a really good starter. Not much to really say about that. Then for some of our other Sworsoul cards, or the rest of our Sworsoul cards, we have triple copies of Emergence and one copy of Blackout. Not much to say here either. Emergence is your Rhoda for the deck, and Blackout is just really good in conjunction with a lot of the different cards in your extra deck. Especially your Grandmaster Sovereign, or Chenying, just to be able to target it and then use its banish effect to protect it and then banish cards on your opponent's field. Then we have a pretty small but standard Tenyi package. Double copies of Adhara, triple copies of the Ashuna, and double copies of Vishuddha. Because I am playing Bestials, these guys do come in handy. And again, to have a free special summon when you don't have anything on the field, and just to be able to special these guys and start off your combos is fantastic. Vishuddha being able to bounce is great, and Ashuna being able to banish itself and special summon is also really good. I'm debating on whether or not I should play Shathana again, just again in conjunction with Blackout, and there's some times where it does come up. Then moving on to our Bestials, really small Bestial package, triple Magnemite and double Druis Worm. Because I am playing Tenyis, I do want to play the Bestials, even though I will have to banish my own monsters more often than not. But again, these are hard to deal with. And if you can crack your opponent's board and then summon these, that's even better. So really good. Then we have the one copy of Destrudo. This is a really good extender because you can basically just use this card's effect If it's in hand or graveyard, paying half your life points, then targeting a level 6 or lower monster you control, special summoning this card, and then this card level is reduced by the level of the targeted monster. So again, really great. Then you place this card on the bottom of the deck when it leaves the field. But this is really good to get into some of your Yazi plays and just extend. Not much to really say about that right now. It is now back to 3, but I think 1 is fine. Then off to some hand traps. We've got triple copies of Effect Failure, triple copies of Ash Blossom, triple copies of Imperm, and double copies of Ghost Mourner and Moonlit Chill. These are really generic. At least these 6 or 9 are really generic. The Ghost Mourner and Moonlit Chill is great because it does help you kind of stop the Kashtira matchup. And I don't know, maybe moving forward you put in a third one. Maybe a side in the third. We'll have to see how the format kind of shapes up. Then, lastly for our cards, we have 2 copies of Pot of Desires. Don't have to say anything about this. Banish 10 cards, draw 2. Fantastic. So that moves over to our extra deck and concludes our main deck, which is 43 cards. But we have, for a bunch of synchros, we've got the 1 copy of Sinister Long Yuan. This is your burn card. I'll probably bump this up to 2 going forward, depending on how Kashtira shapes out. Just because this is a really good double banish and burn. So if the Kashtira monsters can't get their effects off, or you can't do anything with them, this comes in handy because you can banish them and then burn for 12, and then on a spell or trap activation, same thing. So like I said, I might bump that up to 2. Card I'm also debating on playing is this Ice Jade Gamir. This requires 1 water tuner and 1 plus non-water tuner, and all of our Sworsoul tokens are water tokens, so works really well with this deck. But this is also really good because you can activate this effect, and face-up monsters you control cannot be destroyed or banished by your opponent's card effects, at least for this turn. Then, if you activated this effect in response to your opponent's card effect activation, and your opponent has a card with the same name on their field or graveyard, you can banish those cards. And then if a card is banished by your opponent's card effect while this card is in your graveyard, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card, and you can only use each effect of Ice Jade Gamir once per turn. So that's kind of a bit of a debate right now. Regular old Sworsoul cards, we've got 1 Berserker, 1 Barone, the 1 Yazi, the 1 Chenying, the double copies of Shizhao, and the double copies of Boxia for Synchro Monsters. And then I am also playing the 1 copy of Crimson Plater. This card is kind of in and out with the deck. Same thing with the Ice Jade here, so depending on how you want to play, substitute it. But pretty much everything else is standard for the deck. And then moving on to our links. Dark I'm probably going to cut, because again, I'm not sure if Bestials are going to do much, especially for my opponents. So I'm probably going to cut that. And then we have Triple Monk. Again, might cut 1 Monk to make room for the Ice Jade Synchro and the 2nd Sinister Sovereign. And then lastly, another card that I'll probably cut, but it does have some decent synergy with the deck, is Shaman of the Tenyi. But this is like a really good extender because you can discard a card, target a worm monster in your graveyard, and special summon it. And then also for the rest of the turn, you cannot activate the effects of the monster special summoned from the extra deck, except Tenyi monsters, which this is the only Tenyi effect monster, so it doesn't really matter. But the one reason I do kind of want to keep this is when an attack is declared involving your face-up non-effect monster, you can target one card your opponent controls and destroy it. So it does come up from time to time, but if you're only playing 2 Monk, I'm not sure if there's really a reason to want to play it. But overall, I think that this deck has some really good potential in this upcoming format. Because it can play through a lot, and it can just break boards naturally with in-engine cards, so you don't really have to play out of engine cards to stop a lot of things, but it does help. And yeah, like I said, I really like this deck, and this is what I've been playing for the longest time, and I'm probably still going to be playing it. But there are some changes I may make depending on how the format goes. Alright guys, that's it for this Sworsoul deck profile. I hope you enjoyed. Like I said, I'll probably make some changes as the format progresses, but for now, this is what I'm sticking with because I do find that it works well for a lot of the different decks in the meta. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, comment on any changes you might make or what you want to see next, and if you're not already subscribed, subscribe to the channel for more fun Yu-Gi-Oh videos, and I will catch you in the next one. That's game!